For the last few weeks, every time the wind has blown, my garden has been treated to a shower of golden leaves fluttering down like confetti, covering my lawn, my patio and my borders with a layer of leaves from my beautiful silver birch tree. And perhaps you've got the same in your garden. Autumn is here and the leaves have started to fall. Colder weather at night and those ever shortening days is the trigger that deciduous trees and shrubs need to lose their leaves in autumn. And it's the way the plant protects itself. By losing its leaves, it's no longer going to lose moisture, and that will protect the plant and help it get through winter. At first, the green leaves of many plants are transformed, taking on beautiful autumn colours, like here on this viburnum. But eventually the leaves will fall and this shrub will be devoid of foliage right the way through winter until new leaves emerge in the spring. The leaves of some deciduous trees and shrubs start changing colour earlier than others, but eventually they all catch up, and as the leaves fall all around us, gardeners are left with a question to answer. Should I collect them or leave them? There's an argument to be made for just leaving them. After all, no one collects the leaves from a forest floor where they sit and slowly rot down to feed the soil organisms and release their nutrients. Some people might do the same in their gardens, where leaves can just lie on the soil and provide shelter for overwintering bugs and creepy crawlies. And some gardeners actually spread leaves around their borders as a mulch. Rain and snow settles them down, worms pull them into the soil, and a thick carpet of leaves can help prevent frost from penetrating the ground, protecting dormant bulbs, perennials and tender roots from damaging frost. Birds like robins and blackbirds, along with other wildlife, will scratch through the leaves in search of food, and larger piles of leaves might even become home to your neighbourhood hedgehog, frogs, toads, beetles or other creatures. However, elsewhere in your garden, a thick carpet of leaves might not be so welcome. A slippery layer on paths and steps is a real hazard, so sweep up leaves with a broom to collect them. They often get blown to the edges and build up into piles, so sweep them up regularly, especially if they cover areas you regularly walk over. Alpine plants or gravel beds and evergreen perennials can get smothered with wet leaves and be killed, so clear these up promptly to make sure plants like this lovely spreading euphorbia alongside my path don't suffer. Unwanted leaves blow into ponds and water features, and these can harm aquatic creatures as they rot down. If you have a water feature that's small enough, then spread a sheet of netting over it before the leaves start falling. That's a really good tip to stop them blowing in. And of course, leaves can block gutters on your home and your greenhouse, so clear these away regularly to prevent them blocking the gutters and the downpipes. If you have trees alongside your lawn, then these will fall and smother the grass like a carpet, building up a wet layer of leaves that can damage grass and encourage moss to develop in the damp conditions. I really hope you're enjoying my video, and if you are, please subscribe to my channel and click the like button. Thank you. For me, collecting leaves is an essential autumn job, but rather than throw them away in the bin or worse still burn them, I save this valuable resource and turn it into wonderful leaf mould compost to use as a soil improver, sprayed over my borders as a mulch, or sieve it to mix into my potting compost. The simplest way to collect leaves is to sweep them up by hand from paths and patios. Try and choose a calm day for the job to stop the leaves blowing everywhere as you try to collect them. On lawns you can rake them up, and a wide pronged lawn rake makes it easier to rake the leaves into piles to collect. While raking and sweeping does the job and gives you some good exercise too, I do find my electric garden vac a really useful tool, sucking them up into a collection bag and shredding them a little in the process too. I find this particularly useful for sucking up leaves from my gravel paths, as my vac is powerful enough to suck up those loose leaves but doesn't suck up the gravel itself. You can run the vac over your borders or among plants to suck up the leaves, and I find this autumn job very satisfying as I tidy up the garden in preparation for the winter ahead. Now, what should you do with those leaves? You could mix small quantities of leaves in with other material in your compost bin, but most leaves take longer to rot down than the softer material like vegetable peelings and grass clippings, so I think they're best stored separately on their own. I prefer to pack the leaves into old compost bags and just store these in a quiet corner behind my shed, leaving them to rot down for a year or so. Fold over or tie up the tops of the bags to keep the leaves moist inside, and always punch a few drainage holes in the base of the bag with a knife to make sure that rainwater doesn't get inside and sit and collect and create waterlogged conditions. A bag of leaf mould has real value too. Just think how much a bag of compost or soil improver costs. So making a few bags of your own for free saves you serious money too. As the year progresses, always make sure the leaves inside the bags remain moist and they don't dry out, as dry leaves won't rot. So check them occasionally, mix them up and add some water if they appear dry. My garden vac actually shreds the leaves a little bit as it collects them, and these smaller pieces of damaged leaf allow the fungi and the other microorganisms to get straight to work and start the rotting process. If you've got large quantities of leaves to compost, then make yourself a large leaf bin using 4 strong corner posts hammered into the ground and sides clad with chicken wire or thick netting. A smaller one could be made using canes and wire netting, but you get the idea. If you've got an even larger garden and you're really into recycling, then use something like some old wooden pallets to make the 4 sides of your leaf bin. Hammer or tie them together to create something that will contain the leaves. Pile in the leaves, make sure they're damp, and cover with old compost bags to hold in the moisture. To collect the leaves from my lawn, I use my lawnmower, raising the blades high so you're not actually cutting the grass, just collecting the leaves and chopping them up as you go, which helps to speed up their breakdown. Just push the mower up and down the lawn, sucking up and chopping up the leaves as you go. This is a great way to pick up all the leaves from your lawn, and very satisfying too. For me, pouring the leaves into old compost bags does the job, so I save up my compost bags through the year to put to good use in the autumn, filling them up with the chopped up leaves, tying up the tops and leaving them to rot down. Now, be patient, an essential virtue of being a gardener. Thin leaves can rot down within about a year, but thick leathery leaves and their coarse stalks will take longer to rot, so keep an eye on them, and I'll check them next autumn to see if my free leaf mould compost is ready to use or if I need to leave the bags a little bit longer to rot down. And if you do have room to compost even more leaves than your garden produces, then I sometimes pop up with my barrow and broom and sweep them up along my road or local open spaces, pack them into bags and make even more free leaf mould compost. As far as I'm concerned, the more the better. After a year or so, the leaf mould should be ready to use around the garden. And I mainly use mine as a mulch around established shrubs and roses, or as a soil improver, digging it into my soil during the winter cultivations. So there you have it, a few ways of turning fall and autumn leaves into beautiful compost to use around your garden. Hopefully it's given you plenty of ideas, and if you want more, check out some of the other videos on my channel at Adam's Gardening Guides. Whatever you're up to, enjoy your garden.